because that is one of the misunderstandings or misconceptions, if you will, that people really get confused. They believe that when people do quote unquote multiple things, they think it's about doing a lot at the same time. But like you mentioned, it's not really about that. It's just that you have different roles that you are available to serve in at different times. I love to use the metaphor of basketball playing. And so when you're on the court, and though you may have your position as a guard or a forward, but then you play defense and offense, and then you're at the free throw line at some point. So when you're in those particular positions, you're not playing all of those positions at one time. You know, when you're at the free throw line, you're making that shot. And that's the main thing in the moment. The one thing that you are focused on and doing well and with excellence is making that shot. After you do that, then you can go back to whatever role you were playing. And so it's much, you know, like that. It's not really about doing a whole lot at the same time, and it's really not overwhelming. I tell people often it's actually easier to do it this way. It's very much a lighter process, and something going back to what Queen Renee mentioned, you know, just in terms of it may seem like, you know, it can keep you busy in some regards. What I find is that the quote unquote busyness normally is only in the building process of when you're setting structures up and new concepts are being introduced. And again, the building process is happening. But after those structures are in place, that's where the simplicity comes in and the lightness of a business model comes in, that's leveraged whether through automation or just using your gifts and talents and services in a very seasonal way. You know, much like a theme park or a tourist attraction. Sometimes they're not open all year round, but when they are open, then boom, they've got a, you know, a flood of attraction coming, you know, at that particular time, that during that season. So a lot of what happens in the multiplicity space or cross-industry entrepreneur space or even multi-dimensional business models is that sometimes the platforms and services aren't always offered year-round. And honestly, that makes for a bigger catch, because sometimes when you're too available, it can actually work against you. And sometimes when you have enroll now, open now, it's you like they do for insurance. Sometimes you can only sign up, you know, when you're in the traditional workforce, they have those times where you can enroll for your insurance. And so sometimes it's best to have services like that, unless it's a product-based, you know, service that can be self-serving and continue year-round. But some of the services where you have to engage in, it's typically you want to do some of those very seasonal and not necessarily offer them all the time. But someone else jump in, because like I said, you know me, I can go in on this for sure.
Now I have a question. I'm going to put a twist